Oh, Captain, till we find where the treasure be. I see beyond the sea. Oh, Captain, till we go on a journey. Follow me, we shall go foreign.
This is actually, I'm going to watch the Dadvocate. I don't know if you've ever watched her before, but she makes some really good videos. And sometimes she has a lizard. So we're going to watch this. It's... Mm, uh... Yeah, we're going to do this one. I wasn't sold, so for a second there. This is Toxic Wife Blasts Husband Online. We'll see what it's about. I haven't watched it. But yeah, the Dadvocate does some great videos.
For a few days, I've only posted like 1 or 2 videos a day. I usually post around 10 to 15. So
that's a lot of videos.
Dead in my face and says it was just a movie. And I immediately stopped talking. I was defensive over what you guys were saying about me, not him. I don't care what you guys feel about him.
This one popped up on my timeline, and I went and did all the follow-ups and everything. This just showed up organically on my FYP. You can see it's clearly gone pretty viral with, you know, a quarter of a million
hit the wrong button.
likes. And we have a woman sitting in her car, and the text over
I don't always agree with like everything she says, so we'll see how this goes.
It reads, I cried at a restaurant because my husband said something mean. Okay?
Which,
my husband decided to be...
first off, I want to say, just based off of that, regardless of anything else, why are you airing your dirty laundry on the internet like that?
Be spontaneous and take me to the movies last night, and when we went to dinner afterwards.
And this is from someone who I'm pretty sure that I do overshare to an extent, you know, like about my injury, but I try not to share too much stuff, and the injury is something that's like somewhat impacts the stream. So I definitely don't understand people that are just out here blasting their spouses on the internet.
I was talking about how much I really loved the movie. It was so good. I was so excited to talk about it. And he looks at me dead in my face and says, it was just a movie. And I immediately stopped talking. So the more I sat there and thought about it, I start crying. Gets really uncomfortable. And he tries to like break the silence by continuing to talk. And I finally looked at him and I said, that really hurt my feelings. And he responded, it was just a movie. I said, I was really excited to talk about it. You took me to see this movie on a whim. I've never heard of it, didn't look it up beforehand, and I really loved it. You picked a great movie. And I was so excited. And now I don't want to talk at all. Because why would I want to talk after that? And
So kind of just from the beginning, I can understand where she's coming from. It can really take the wind out of your sails if you're trying to share something that you're really enthusiastic about and the person clearly doesn't want to talk about it or just quite frankly says something along those lines. So I can understand that. But why is it on the internet?
Immediately stops. He's like, you're right, I'm sorry. And then he grabs my hands. He's like, I'm not even being sarcastic. You're right, I'm sorry. Okay. I love when you get...
And he apologized.
It's just annoying sometimes. I recognize.
It's just annoying sometimes. Did he actually say that?
Recognize that he is trying and he is learning how to communicate with me. It's not an overnight process, but it is very painful. He's still new to his healing journey, so I just have to keep remembering that.
Okay. We'll get into the comments in a second, but we have this woman who husband spontaneously decides to take her out to the movies. So that's automatically like supposed to be a green flag in a man, right? We complain all the time about like men don't plan dates, men don't do anything.
Yeah, taking someone just out on a whim, or to a movie that they don't maybe wouldn't usually be interested in, yeah, that's cool.
Men aren't romantic, men aren't spontaneous anymore. So he does that. He does the thing. He takes her out on the date. They go to see the movie, and they even go out to eat afterward. Like, amazing date night, right? But this is where he does mess up, is she starts getting really, really excited to talk about it, and he kind of kills the mood, right? By saying it's just a movie. Which, like, I can relate to this, okay? I dated a guy in the past who one time he brought up that he was like, Lauren, you always tell the same stories over and over again, and like you really tell
A lot of
stories
people
about
do
stuff
that.
doesn't matter. Like, you just talk
Oof.
about random stuff that happened with your coworkers and things going on in their lives, and
That's
I
not
just
cool.
don't really know why you like waste all this time talking about some of this stuff. And I remember like that killed my spirit, and I remember being like, damn, I'm probably so annoying. Like this is probably such an annoying thing to him.
Yeah,
I
that
should
would suck.
probably like dial it back, and I did, but
I can't say that anyone. I haven't dated a whole lot of people, but I can't say that anyone I've dated has done that. Yeah. That would suck, though, from anybody. It wouldn't matter who it's from.
you know, we broke up, and then later I meet TJ, and TJ is like, I love that you talk about everything, and I love talking about your day and all the like random little things that happen to you. And like TJ never made me feel that way. And I was like, man, this is amazing. But I also recognized that, you know, two things could be true, right? Like, I can be more compatible with TJ,
Yeah.
and it's not necessarily a bad thing that some people just don't like small talk. You know, there are some people where they're like, do not
Yeah.
talk to me before I have my coffee. I get way too
I-
overstimulated with conversation first thing in the morning. They probably wouldn't be compatible with me or TJ because we wake up and yap. Yap o'clock starts the minute our eyes open. And
I
we
generally,
are just
I generally need some time, especially right now,
like
just
singing
before
into
I
each
can
other's yapathon. Okay,
properly
so like
hold a
I can
conversation.
understand her kind of her spirit here, but at the same time, I've actually made this criticism before when it comes to the nonchalant guy meme trend, right? And so I'm gonna stay intellectually consistent, right? I know some of you guys are like, you think that I only defend guys because I'm the Dadvocate and I only criticize women, but this was a criticism I made in the past of this trend of guys saying how easy it is for men to become nonchalant, and it'll be a girl who's like, why do you always
Is
pick up
it?
sticks? And then he's like, never mind, I'm just never gonna be funny ever again. And I'm kind of like, I mean, you guys can't let people ruin your whole spirit over stuff like that, right? Because
Yeah, that's not.
it's the equivalent
That's
of
also not
you
wrong. I've
tell
seen
the
stuff
girl,
like that
hey, can
before.
you scoot over a little?
But for the guys who do watch or check me out or whatever, is this true for y'all? I'm curious.
Little bit in bed, she's like, fine, I'll just sleep on the floor. You know what I mean? Like, there is a point where it's a bit of an over exaggeration to someone simply saying like, I can't handle this energy right now, or like, this is too much talking. Like, should he have killed the vibe and said that? No. Did that sentence warrant fully breaking down and sobbing in the restaurant? Look, sometimes you can't control it. I was even thinking that this video was gonna end with like a pregnancy announcement.
Oh my gosh, that would be
Like,
crazy.
oh my god, that's not typically something that I would like start crying in public over. But if it's like that time of the month, we're feeling super hormonal for some reason, not to like diminish all women's feelings down to their menstrual cycle, but I was like, wow,
hormones have a huge effect on. Hormones have such a huge effect on how you feel, how you react to things. I mean, you can look at teenagers and know that. And that doesn't change just because we're past puberty. Is it true for everyone? No, there'll be some exceptions. But it's true for a lot of people that are like hormone shifts can change a lot in our emotions and how we react. And
which is
stuff.
good. But then he's saying like, I'm sorry, you were just being annoying.
Yeah, that one.
Could have had a
That part's like, nah.
apology there. But overall, I'm like, okay, guy.
That one's like, come on, brah.
A little bit.
You can do better.
Consider this a mistake. I wouldn't consider this like malicious or chronically harmful behavior, but the people in the comments did. So some of the comments here,
I'm sure the comments did.
Infuriates me. For women like myself who are in genuinely ABUS-IVE relationships with men who did more than simply be dismissive during the conversation, you
took me a second.
All he did was
she
dismiss your
did that so fast.
Spare me. Oh wow, okay. So she's like, there was no need for this partner shaming, which, I mean, okay, here's the thing. Let me meet her halfway here. Just
there really wasn't.
Things could always be worse doesn't mean that any pain you feel over being dismissed isn't worth ever talking about, right? I think she had her right to be upset. She had a
okay, so I mean, she can be upset and she can want to talk about it, but why does it have to be online? Like, I don't. Unless you're trying to use it as an educational moment for other people and the other party agreed, then it really doesn't need to be on the internet. That's my opinion anyway.
Right to cry. You can't always stop crying, you know? We can't always stop that. But posting it online for us all to judge him,
yeah.
You'll see, though. You'll see. Do not have kids with him, because when this marriage ends, they will suffer. That's a strong assessment to make from this minor situation. Anne says, your happiness bothers him. There is veiled
my bad
there. Whatever his journey is, you deserve a partner who enjoys you. Almost 25,000 likes. This is very commonly fed to us women. Very dangerous stuff that is absolutely causing a larger divide between the sexes.
You know, it's not necessarily wrong what they said, but everyone has an off day. Not everyone communicates well. I do not like, and this is coming from someone who's like trying to talk to people on the internet, but I'm not necessarily the best at conveying what I'm trying to say vocally. Like, oftentimes I can do it better via text. I don't know why. Or via written messages or whatever. I don't know why, it just works better. So maybe he just doesn't communicate well, and that's not really what he meant. Still kind of an ouch, though. Regardless.
Onto the gender war is this whole idea that anytime a man gets slightly annoyed with a woman, anytime a man has expectations of a woman or standards for a woman, he must hate her. You hear this a lot with like splitting bills. Oh, if a man makes you split bills, he hates you. That's a bit extreme, in my opinion. I'll read a couple more comments before we get into the follow-up videos too. Quote, he's still new to his healing journey,
that would be
quote.
extreme.
Babe,
I mean,
why does
when I've never thought that there was an issue with splitting bills with someone. Especially now, times are tough.
His healing journey have to hurt you in the process. Your happiness is
and I mean, in the long run, you're going to be in a partnership anyway. Hopefully. So, splitting, like, things, I don't see how that's an issue.
Annoying to him. Jennifer Lewis left her husband after one comment about how annoyed he was at how much she loved beautiful trees. And she seems like such a fulfilled, joyous, self-assured lady. Don't let him suffocate your joy for life again. Making excuses.
I'm sorry, she left her husband for one comment. One. That That's wild.
Excuses for your bully.
I
That
could
was
not
An
imagine.
apology. It was meant to pacify you for that 1 second so he could insult you again. That's not healing. That's ABUSIVE. I'm so sorry. Also, if you're annoyed with me spelling words, don't be mad at me. Be mad at you too. Okay. She does end up responding to a
I don't
couple
really
of
agree with a lot of
so
the
this
comments.
one, she's responding to a comment, the one that said, "This infuriates me," and the one who was like, you should be grateful for a partner who's not actually ABUSIV. So this is where she decides, how dare you tell me, I'm just gonna say the word and like monetization be damned. Okay, thank you guys for super chats, because I'm gonna use a big scary word now, but like this is where she decides, like, how dare you tell me my husband is not abusive? No, I'm actually going to double, triple, quadruple down that no, my husband and the father of my children actually is an abusive POS, and how dare you say otherwise?
It's really interesting to me that an abused person would tell another abused person to be grateful they're not abused worse. Emotional abuse and neglect is still abuse. And I wasn't even the one to say it. The thousands of commenters did.
So now what? I'm sorry to pause in the middle, but now what is this logic? She's like, so she's now painting herself as an abuse.
Yeah.
Victim. An abuse
That's a bit.
victim.
That's a bit rough.
Like, again, y'all saw me have empathy with her, that like I can see why that would hurt your feelings. I could see why that would not make you feel great. I can understand that. But an abuse victim, because he said it's just a movie, then to try to underplay her calling herself an abuse victim by saying, well, I'm not the one who said it. They all said it. They all said it. And now you're agreeing with the narrative. You are now agreeing on one of the most popular social media platforms in a completely public way, where all of your family members, all of your friends,
because then people are going to start looking for him.
Everyone who knows this man, your children can see it.
Especially if you've posted anything with any image of your husband and you say something like that. That's like, no, you can't. That's just asking. Well, it's almost asking for them to dox your spouse and start a harassment campaign against him because you implied that he's abusive. Notice, I don't think she said abused person. Who's abusing her? Is it her husband or is it someone else? It's vague.
Agreeing that you are an abuse victim over this.
So if it infuriates you, that is something you need to take up with them or yourself. I also see an uptick in my videos because I guess I was on a Matt Walsh episode. Yay, I love when I end up on the red pill content side of TikTok. That's like my favorite place to be with all the other abusive men.
And then ends the video with this grand cherry on top, just completely reiterating that she considers her own husband to be an abusive man. This is a bit much, lady.
Yeah, the other abusive man thing is like,
abusive. Literally abusive. Wherever could this go next? Oh wait, I know. Who wants to see the just kidding, we're fine video? This is her reacting to the other comment that says, do not have kids with him.
Girl, I'm 39 years old. I have 4 children. My oldest is 20. Our youngest is 5. The more
39 years old, oldest is 20. One sec. I'm trying to remember how old I was when I had my oldest. Yeah. That's not suspect. It's reasonable. Just surprising.
The entire household has gotten. I'm giving everybody grace, not just him, me and the kids too.
Shortest, weakest, laziest, just kidding, we're fine video ever, where she also, like, once again is
I don't think that was
as this martyr. She has 4.
I was gonna say, I don't think that's like really a just kidding, we're fine video. I think it's more like kind of still hinting that there's something going on, but she's giving everyone like she's trying to be understanding because they've got a pretty big family, 5 people.
Kids with this man, has been with this man for a very long time, but don't worry, at least she has been generous enough to give him and them
And that
so
would be a
much
pretty long time, I
grace
mean.
on this healing
That's almost 20
journey
years together? Or
And so
married?
now, of
Possibly
course, the
longer
comments are
together?
filled with
Well,
people
if they
who
were
are like,
married.
girl, no, like,
When
don't
she
give
had the
him
first kiddo.
any lenience, okay? No, he's terrible. He's abusive. He's the worst man of all time. Like, it was one sentence. Am I off the mark here for thinking that calling one sentence of "it's just a movie" abuse, that she is now an abuse victim to an abusive man?
I mean, we
with
don't really know what's going on
ongoing
behind the
abuse
scenes.
Is a bit much. All right, here's her page. We just watched this one, of course. She's responding to this comment that says, "I'm trying to give her so much grace because men like this will completely destroy your self-esteem, but her responses are so defensive. Like, babe, we want better for you." Now we're full blown in the "just kidding, we're fine" phase, which this is never, it never ceases to impress me in a way. It never ceases to just surprise me that women will come on here on TikTok and post something along the lines of, "My husband is literally abusing me," then get mad
Who's
at
howling
us.
Who's howling to the moon? I just saw that, so I don't know if you sent, like, exactly when you sent that.
When we go,
I've been glancing over,
"That's
but
bad, you should leave that situation." They want to go, no. When I say
Oh.
he's like an abusive man and I'm a victim under him, that's
I
like
mean,
just
fair.
marriage. Like, everyone
That's
goes
fair.
through this.
That's
And
funny.
they want to like start downplaying it. And it's like, I cannot stress this enough, you guys. Once you cry wolf, like once you say your husband is an abusive POS, there's no putting that toothpaste back in the tube.
Yeah,
There's
no.
Like, okay, well anyway, here's a cute
Everyone,
family photo session we did in
like
the
a
woods,
boss,
all wearing
yeah?
coordinating
Or like a
outfits. You
bass?
don't get
Like a
that
bass?
luxury
Okay,
anymore.
fair.
Everyone will forever hate him. And then if you choose to try to help restore his reputation, they will
Misread
hate
it there.
you too. That's the crazy.
She's completely right, though. Like, everyone is going to continue to assume that she's being abused because she implied it. They're going to assume that it was her husband because she implied it. And even if she comes out and says, "No, I'm not, I'm okay, we're okay, blah, blah, blah," it's not going to change anything. And all sorts of narratives will be weaved from that.
The part about it is, it's like, I was just saying that there's such a breadth of empathy for women that almost anything they do, someone's trying to help and empower and get them through it, unless you at any point go back to defending a man. Then they hate you too. Then you're right back in the trash with all the other XY chromosomes. Okay? And this is a lesson that no one seems to be learning. I've been covering partner shamers since like 2021, and
this tends to be, or this seems to be a particular corner of the internet that's like that. What she's describing. Oh, I paused it at a great place. Oh no. But no, it does seem like it's a particular part of the internet that's like that, and there's not really a whole lot of getting away from it. Gosh. Yeah.
Still just keep doing the exact same formula. Record a video absolutely shitting on your husband, making him look like the biggest pile of dung, the most cancerous lump on the teat of all society. Then we're all like, "Oh shit, he's terrible, we all hate him." And then you're like, "Oh no, what's wrong with you guys? What's wrong with you that you would?"
There are
say
some
all
people
these
that
mean
like
things. He's great.
make it
And
excessive,
you guys don't have
or
real
like take
love
it like
to compare
super
my
far.
real love to. It's always the same freaking thing, man. So she's responding in the comment here, and she says,
defensive over him. I was getting defensive over me. Whether or not we get divorced is to be seen in the future. I'm not thinking about that on a daily basis. I'm addressing bad behavior, and if it gets to a point where I can no longer take it anymore, I will leave. I'm in a place where I can do that and feel secure that I am okay and I will be okay. Now,
that's awesome that you feel secure enough to publicly toy with the idea of divorce as if you've just been dating this
You gotta
guy
wonder,
for 4 weeks
like,
and it's a simple breakup and the 4 children that you have.
does he know
be
about her
affected by
TikTok?
it. That's
Is he
great that
seeing
you
this?
feel secure enough in that. But pro tip to anybody out there listening, the D word is kind of for emergencies, right? Like, and it's not like the kind of card that you should just bring up every single time your feelings are slightly hurt. Like, this is like major, like, infidelity, financial infidelity, substance abuse, DV, like, we're
Some of
talking,
these,
like,
so some of those things are things that you might be able to work past with your partner. Not like, some of them you can't. But some of them, depending on your relationship, you may be able to work through even a couple of the things that she's listed.
Major issues, and maybe there have been like several bigger issues over time to where this dismissal of her feelings was like just the straw that broke the camel's back.
I was actually about to say that.
Sake, I'm not seeing the evidence to support that, which, look, it's not a jury trial, okay?
It's also
She
not
doesn't
our
have to
business.
prove to all of us. She could just divorce her husband tomorrow,
Which is why
because the
I don't
sky is blue
understand
if she wants.
why she started talking on the internet, talking trash about her husband on the internet in the first place.
Wants to and lives in a no-fault state. Like, she could, but I'm gonna tell you right now, between a guy who has just organized an entire date night making one stupid and thoughtless comment that he then apologized for, and you blasting all of this online for the worst kinds of public scrutiny, labeling him with the worst kinds of titles, the type of label that good men fear ever being associated with
one of
for
them.
any
That's
reason,
one of them.
much less by their wife, publicly online, and then doubling down and just recklessly and nonchalantly talking about, like, maybe I'll divorce him, maybe I won't, who knows. I think one of those things is objectively worse than the other. But I'll let her finish.
Natural human reaction to get defensive, but to be clear, and I don't have to explain myself to anybody, but
no, you don't.
I was defensive.
You didn't have to put this on the internet in the first place.
Not him. I don't care what you guys feel about him.
Something tells me
I'm talking to someone who can't hear me.
TikTok video, publicly talking about the worst, meanest, shittiest things this woman has ever said to him, because I am more and more getting the feeling that she has done so deliberately.
Maybe she has, maybe she hasn't, but that would be almost poetic justice if he did. However, that would also be worse. By just, even if he does have a TikTok account or whatever, or any social media where he can make a response, it is almost better that he says nothing.
Called himself an abuse victim, called her his abuser, said he might just divorce her, and then said that he doesn't give a shit.
At least if he doesn't get, like, doxxed or something.
That she would be falling down the wall, throwing up in her own hands, snot bubble exploding all over her face, crying.
This seems excessive.
Uncontrollably upset. I have
like
no
that
doubt in my mind
that description seems a little bit far.
If the tables were turned here, what is going on? If I had to guess,
I mean, maybe she'd react like that, but
here,
I don't know.
I'm assuming that this is a man who does not do social media. Because this is something I've pointed out several times over the last few years, is the men who are most likely to get partner shamed into absolute hell are the ones who are just not on social media. They hate social media. They don't go on there and watch stuff. And therefore,
That wouldn't surprise me, but
most confident that they will get away with posting anything they want. These are the ones most likely to be partner shamed. And it sucks because it's like you should be able to live a life without monitoring social media 24/7 and still not have this shit posted about you. Like, you should be able to trust that your spouse is not making you look like absolute dog water to the general public in a way that's going to go massively viral. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't have to audit your wife's TikTok just to not have to deal with this.
Seriously, and then the sort of fights that would cause, most likely, just wouldn't be worth it as well. I don't know. I guess it depends on the person. I wouldn't be able to stand doing it. I just wouldn't be able to stand it. I don't know how I would behave. I don't know how I would feel if my husband was doing this online.
Either, but obviously I do a little bit. So I had to ignore TikTok for a few days. I've only posted like 1 or 2 videos a day. I usually post around 10 to 15. So
that's so many.
I'm sorry, you're usually posting 10 to 15 videos on TikTok a day?
What about what?
Sickness. What is going on, dude? Like, that's not healthy or normal or a worthwhile endeavor.
I can't say what's normal now. I don't know. Maybe it is normal to post that many a day on use TikTok. So I'm not going to speak to that. It does seem a bit much, though.
Oh, that sounds like escapism, dude.
I think I'm posting like crazy. I'm not. I'm just crashing out and processing a lot of what you're saying about me and how I respond to things and how I treat people and how I empathize and show compassion. I don't like being told how to do that. But I wasn't getting defensive.
Interesting. The person who can barely tolerate and stomach simple criticisms while still receiving the overwhelming majority of favor feels 100% okay painting their spouse as an absolute Disney villain.
That's gross.
That kind of proves my point that I said earlier, how I do not think she would be able to handle this being reversed Uno'd back on her at all. She's crashing.
I could probably agree with that. A lot of people who do
even a little bit. I would love to see her react to him posting something similar.
Does she? I mean,
she's reacting to this comment.
Yeah, but that's still at least 4 videos less than her. So I don't know. Maybe that's normal. I really don't post that much at all. So it's a problem. I should probably post more.
Comment that says, it's quite pathetic that you're airing your dirty laundry against your husband, embarrassing him and making him look like a bad person. Shame on you. It's narcissism.
Right?
If he doesn't want me telling people what he says to me, then maybe he should just stop saying those things.
Or you could keep private conversations private.
For it, then that's on you.
I mean, yes, there's a limit. Yes, there's a limit to where you should be telling people. Should you tell the entire internet? No. You should probably have a couple of people you trust that you can tell. Can they be internet friends? Sure. But generally, unless it's an absolute last resort, possibly for documentation purposes, or because you don't have anywhere to turn to, and maybe she doesn't, I will caveat it. But I think doing this sort of a thing should be a last resort.
He doesn't want me telling people.
Okay, I do hear this excuse a lot in the partner shaming books. If my spouse didn't want me to blast our personal business all over the public, essentially turning our private lives into a frickin' TikTok reality show, then he just shouldn't have done it. And I don't know, I have to disagree with that sentiment. Imagine being offered $350,000 after a devastating accident, only to have a jury award you $12.2 million instead. That's exactly what
That was
happened
a
when
really
Morgan
weird
Morgan
place
took
to
on the case
insert
of
an
a
ad read.
70-year-old physical therapist who was unexpectedly struck
She
by
was
a
like
commercial truck.
mid-sentence.
The
Why
insurance
did
company
what?
underestimated both the elderly woman and her injuries, but Morgan and Morgan didn't. Insurance companies often lowball people all the time, and most of us don't even realize it. In this case, the insurance company downplayed this woman's life-changing injuries and offered what they thought was fair. But when she decided to work with
I mean, I'll
Morgan
let it play.
Morgan,
I don't have a problem with the ad reads. It's just the placement of it was so odd. There was no transition into it.
This isn't just a one-off. Another client was only offered $200,000
And I'm pretty sure she was
Morgan pushed it to
like
trial
mid-sentence.
and secured $2.6
I'm very
million
confused.
instead. That's a 1,200% increase because most of us don't have the tools to go up against billion-dollar insurance companies on our own. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. They've recovered billions for their clients. And here's the thing, you don't pay
I guess it happens sometimes, though. There's going to be a bad placement.
No hourly rates, no upfront fees. If you've been seriously injured, even if the offer looks decent, don't sign anything until you've talked to a real attorney.
Gotcha. I don't mind. So I don't mind the ad reads.
Dadvocate, found in my description box
I don't know
below,
if
or by
listening to
scanning
them
the QR
helps
code on screen
the
from your
creators
phone's
at all.
camera. Now that you know one more way to protect yourself, let's get back to the video.
But yeah, I mean, I don't mind them. It's just that transition was rough because there was no transition.
But this is not like people organically finding out about
Yeah.
something that he's done. And I also can't stress enough that I don't.
Okay, so because I haven't had any sponsorships and I haven't even looked into them because it's been nowhere on my radar. So is it just from their whatever code, or do they just get paid for them, period? Or does it depend? It probably depends, actually. It probably depends. So, I mean, if it's not going to hurt them to skip it, then I'll skip it. Fair. Fair enough.
What he did was that.
Yeah, like I said, I really have not looked into any of them.
Yes. Stupid. Yes. Thoughtless. Yes. Who amongst
I'm
us
learning stuff.
does not have those moments on at least a semi-regular basis? And for someone going on and on praising themselves about, well, I give everyone so much grace, I don't think you do. I don't think you do, because it was one dumb.
So, I don't know this lady. And I'm talking about the one. I don't know the Dadvocate either. I don't know either of these ladies. Ha! But this is something that my husband has had. I'm pretty sure I heard it before him too. But trust me is the cry of a guilty soul, or basically, if someone's telling you, you can trust me, or if they have to tell you, you can trust me, they're probably lying. And I get that same sort of feeling with people who try and almost put themselves on a pedestal. I don't know this lady. Maybe what she's saying is accurate. It's not 100% thing. Some people are just desperately trying to get others to believe them because they're telling the truth and they're not usually believed. But the question is there. Sometimes it's based on how many referrals they get, so they need to get like... Oh, okay, yeah, that's fair.
ass offhand
Thank you.
comment that has now eaten up hours of your life. Like, you have let this go on for days and days and days, dude. Like, and also, I honestly believe that a spouse's duty is to protect their spouse's reputation for multiple reasons, both selfishly and selflessly. Because the thing is, here's what a lot of people just don't even think about. As soon as you marry someone, you are literally one. Like, in all of the eyes of the public, you are now accountable for
Yeah.
each other. You now wear each other's
To an
reputations,
extent.
okay?
To an
Every
extent.
dumbass thing one of you says is a reflection of the other person, okay? Terrible financial choices, you're also gonna go down with that ship, okay?
Financial choices, yes. This is the Dadvocate. Hey, Rat Queen. I agree on financial choices. I don't agree on the stupid thing that your partner says. You're only going to think that way, that I say something stupid. You're only going to think my husband's accountable for it if you're extremely judgmental, in my opinion. Yes, we're married. We're not the same person. I don't look at someone's husband doing something dumb and think anything poorly of the wife. Just like, people do dumb stuff sometimes. She probably does dumb stuff sometimes that's in no way associated with him. So I disagree with part of that. But the financial thing, I mean, unless your finances are completely separate, then yeah, that is kind of a reflection on both of you.
So that being said, it's in your both.
Though it doesn't necessarily mean it's a reflection because you made a poor financial choice. It could just be a reflection because circumstances have led you to a rough spot. It could be a reflection that you're trying really hard to dig yourself out. It could, depending on how you handle it. All of it's how you handle it, really. And if you're both a team, then it's a positive or negative reflection.
Of your best interests to protect each other, to uplift
And I'm not sure I
each other,
conveyed what
to
I was
keep
trying to
the
say
worst
well there.
moments between you private, behind closed doors, only spoken between the most trusted of your peers, who you know will not completely lose respect for the other person over, you know, whatever dumbass mistake or fight you guys got into. Because there are some people you can talk to about the fights and stuff you get into, right? I do have some friends that I know, if I talk to them about, like, this is an issue me and TJ are having, they like TJ, they respect TJ, and they're not going to take my word as the gospel truth. In fact, they'll play the devil's advocate and offer an alternate perspective so that I can genuinely resolve it and not just marinate in my own self-pity or anger or whatever is going on.
I mean, having someone to talk to is important. That isn't the entire internet.
None of those people are in the public comment section of your TikTok, dude. These are all strangers who have not bared witness to any of the years of trials and sacrifice and giving and selflessness that has gone into this marriage and raising these children together. They have no clue. All they know is this one shitty thing this man did, and they are just ready to rally behind it. They're just
he screwed up in the entire internet or this entire TikTok comment section.
It's dragging dudes by the balls against
is
a
ready
field
to
of broken glass of judgmental opinions.
Like,
okay, they love that. That is TikTok's bread and frickin' butter. And you know,
go after him like he's Frankenstein's monster.
Several videos of you responding to these kinds of comments, and yet you're like, well, I don't care what people think of him. I care what people think of me. The whole narcissism accusation.
If you care about what people think of you, you wouldn't talk.
Okay, it's not
about your husband.
Figured out who Matt Walsh was yesterday when my friend sent me the video he had posted on Instagram calling me a child.
Those are big glasses.
My behavior was childlike. Other than that, no clue who he is. If he feels that I used that story for clout or views, then that's just something he would do. That wasn't my intention.
I mean, you might not be wrong about Matt Walsh specifically, but like, and projection is definitely a common thing. There's definitely a lot
I don't know
of
if he
times
would
that
or
people
not.
are
I don't know
projecting.
Matt
The only
Walsh.
reason they came to the assessment that they did
Do
was
y'all
because
think he
that's how
would?
they would have acted. Absolutely, that
No, I'm
can
curious.
happen, but that's not the case for every
I don't really
single
pay attention to
criticism.
him.
I also think that what you were doing was childish and immature and using a very small, trivial disagreement with your spouse to just generate as much validation as you possibly could. In this situation, even if that is something Matt Walsh would do, I don't think that he's wrong in his assessment that you would also do it.
If my husband
You know-
doesn't want to be seen in a negative light, he shouldn't say negative shit.
Or he shouldn't be married to you. Because
Oof. Oof. Maybe not wrong, but oof. I mean, that's true. Two things can be true. It could be that Matt Walsh will do something like that and use a story just for clout. But it can also be childish.
At the end of the day, people are going to say stupid stuff. They're going to say stupid stuff, but not all of us.
At least
have
the
every
putting it out on
stupid
the
thing
internet
we
like that.
ever say get broadcast and embellished in these horrible ways by the people who are supposed to love and take care of us. This is specifically a you
And I
and
mean,
your
we
husband
don't-
issue right now.
For everyone saying I ruined his reputation, I didn't use his name, and that's my maiden name. Just
Oh,
You don't
brother. So
think
now she's gonna say
they can
whoa,
find
for everyone
out?
saying I ruined my husband's reputation. Not everybody's gonna
You
be
don't-
able to match who my legal spouse of several years is to my
I-
face and my.
I'm so flabbergasted by this because that just implies she doesn't think that the internet can do its thing and not only dox her married name, but her entire family. That's...
maiden name, okay? I
Why would you even admit that's your maiden name? Why would you just not point down and be like, that's not even my real name?
didn't use his full government name.
Like,
so it's pretty
seriously?
much impossible for anyone to ever figure out who he is. The mental gymnastics are mental gymnasticking.
because we're not children anymore doesn't mean our feelings can't get hurt. You know, it hurt my feelings. I'm allowed to express that. Oh, and this is my TV channel. You're not obligated to stay.
TV channel?
Think you're on TV? This is TikTok.
Did she mean
okay?
She could have...
Yes,
Okay.
we
She could have misspoken. She could have misspoken. I misspeak all the time.
access it in
She
very
could have
similar
misspoken.
ways to TV, but
That just caught me off
dude,
guard.
She is not beating the narcissist allegations right now, okay? Because
Nah.
that is it is full narc behavior to think of yourself constantly as the martyr, constantly centering yourself as the point of
'Cause
attention
that-
as often as
The
you
TV thing
can,
could have
and then
literally just
embellishing
been
it so greatly that you would
misspeaking.
your
I do
little
that crap
TikToks
all
to,
the
having
time.
a TV show?
Comment or share any of my content. If you don't want to see me or don't like my content, feel
Just
free
keep
to change
scrolling.
it.
Just
Everything
keep
you do from
scrolling.
here on out is up to you. Make your choice.
I am making the personal choice to roast you. This is not a TV show. Okay, yeah, big agree. The most aggravating thing about this app is
She
influencers
just-
or reporters that actually make a report based on one video instead of digging into the full picture.
I really
Okay,
think
yeah,
the
I agree.
TV
I'm
thing
trying to dig
is
into the full picture. I would love to get his side, quite frankly.
a
I can
misspeak.
type your account name into any search engine.
She could have been there after it ended and posted it anyway, and then after it had already been viewed a ton, facepalmed, why did I say TV show? That would be the sort of thing I would do, and then feel like it was too late to delete it and reopen it or re-upload it.
And find your husband's full name within minutes for 99 cents. So don't use that excuse. She says, okay, but what did I say that would cause him to lose anything in his life? What do you mean, dude? What do you mean? Men have absolutely lost their jobs over partner shaming videos. If his boss,
I don't know if
or,
they have
like,
or not.
supervisor,
I have
especially
no idea if
she's
they
a
have.
woman, sees these videos of him with his wife,
Partner
calling
shaming
him
videos is kind of a
abusive, you
new
don't think that's
thing
gonna
to
have
me.
any influence on whether or not she chooses to keep him or not? Whether or not she chooses to promote him? You don't think that that can cause any harm to his social life whatsoever? And it's also, again, the narcissist's prayer. Oh, well, I didn't say that, and if I did say that, it wasn't that bad, and if you do think it was that bad, then that's just your interpretation of things, and that's on you, right? Like, there's always even when you catch them being wrong, they're just gonna find a new goalpost to shift the point to. She's like, well, it's not like anybody can find his real name. And then we're like, we can all find his real name. And then she's
Yeah,
like, okay,
it's
well,
not that
like
hard.
It's really doing anything. Like, okay, you literally were fully crashing out because strangers on the internet were minorly judging your character. But you don't think that this could cause any damage at all to him. You know what? This has nothing to do with the husband, but just while we're on the roasting Jenny Ma train, how much do you want to bet that whatever the story that she's about to tell that is captioned, the funniest thing I did to someone who disrespected me, how much do you want to bet that, like, the disrespect was, like, nothing? Like,
to enter my DMs with some disrespectful ass shit. So I decided to go through so many of her pictures on Facebook until I could find the one
that's
that
messed
I
up.
needed, and I gave the implication that I slept with her man, and when she didn't believe me, I described something from her bedroom that no one else.
I got her.
She had to take a walk.
I gotta take a walk.
Ah,
Oh my God.
beat her to it.
Oh my God.
For real though, I don't know what this disrespect was, but who does that? Who does that?
Bitch. People literally do not believe me when I tell them that women do this. When I say that are we dating
Oh no, I
the same
believe that there are
guy
women that do
extremely
this.
dangerous and harmful, because there are women who will
There's probably dudes that do this sort of thing too.
post fake stories in there.
Because there are
who will
people that
post them
suck.
claiming that they're dating them just
In
to cause
general.
problems
Not
in the
everyone,
relationship,
but
just because they don't
more
like
people
the girl.
than
People
I
won't
like.
believe me. They don't believe me.
I wish
okay?
fewer people
and,
sucked.
Like, girls have admitted it to my face, and they're like, no, that doesn't happen.
Or wait, I wish more people didn't
She got
suck.
a mean
I don't know if what I
message
said before made
online
sense.
from a stranger. She got disrespected in a message that she could just easily block, swipe to delete, hit X. Hell, don't even read it. Mark it as unread.
You ain't gotta read it.
So many other things you could have done to ignore this minute troll comment online, and instead, what you choose to do is stalk her photos for such a long and egregious amount of time until you get enough.
How long did it take her for something like that?
To where you could potentially pass as someone who is having an affair with her
That's just
husband
insane.
to cause turmoil within her relationship. What a crazy bitch, dude. What an actual crazy beast of a monster. I don't know what was said to her in the DMs. I don't know.
I don't know if she's gonna share it.
The message. So I'm gonna assume it's probably something like, "You're just being so dramatic."
She hasn't said it yet. I don't know if she's gonna say it, but like, that's messed up. It is. I don't want that to happen to anyone because it's messed up.
And they're like, oh, she just makes it her mission to dedicate hours of her life to trying to ruin this woman's entire existence. Now, I'm trying to think of what it could possibly be to even start to warrant that. Maybe it was the most, like, racist, anti-Semitic, like, wishing murder on her children ass diabolical thing in the world. But I don't think that it was, because I'm pretty sure that if it was, she would just show us the message so that we could
We'll see.
be as
We'll have to
equally
see.
angry. But all we know is it was a disrespectful message.
And then there's the whole thing that you can fake messages. I mean, well, I guess I don't know how it works on TikTok. But a lot of the time, like, there's so many places where you can just fake messages that I very often don't even trust the bad DMs that people post.
It's TikTok. No one owes you respect. Wow. So anyway, this is your sign to keep your shit private too, because there are clearly crazies out there in the world.
No one else would know unless they literally looked through at least 30 minutes of pictures or been there. I hadn't been there. I wonder if they're still together. When I was like
and I cannot stress this
And she
enough,
thinks it's funny?
I gotta watch the rest now. Now I'm just addicted to her slop.
I used to have to walk my kids to the babysitters across town, then walk to work at a bar I worked at downtown.
That makes
When
sense.
my friend worked with me, she would take me to get my kids and then take me home. But on the nights that she wasn't there, I had to walk home at 2 a.m. with my 2 kids that were a toddler and a baby. I genuinely forgot how resilient I was in my early 20s. I don't want to be like that again, but I have the capability of doing so. It is smarter to build your resources before leaving if you are in a physically safe space.
I'm getting the feeling that the 4 kids that she has are not all her current husbands. Now, just because a man steps
Yeah.
up to
I mean, they may not be her current husbands. And if that story is true, I mean, I've never had to do that. So, you know, if that is true and there's no reason to believe that it's not, you know, she did what she had to do. You can respect that.
be a stepdad doesn't automatically make him a hero. There's plenty of shitty stepdads. But like, this dude stepped up, took you on as a single mom of multiple kids, tries to plan date nights, gets you out of a shitty situation, and you just can't stop being angry and self-absorbed.
If you can disengage.
Did he get her out of a shitty situation? There are some assumptions being made here that it's like, did he or did she work her way out of it? We don't know that.
I don't really want to say anything else regarding this because
so now she's literally just a yapping
And so,
to try to fill
like, assumptions like that, I'm like,
necessary
maybe, but we don't
to
know.
get paid on TikTok.
And I don't
Which,
really
like,
agree with,
Girly Pop,
like,
they
making
get
some
to your
assumptions
minute, I guess.
without
How much are
knowing.
you getting paid per video? This is like 50 cents a video. This is a sickness. Like, you're really gonna say, you're really out here like, oh, people are just projecting onto me that I want attention and clout. You're literally reaching back into the furthest crevices of your memory for like an iota of a story that could possibly last 60 seconds so that you could try to make money. Oh my god, I gotta hear this one.
I am your mirror. If I am triggering you, it's something that you need to figure out and question within yourself. It doesn't mean
Oh,
What?
That another classic
What does that mean?
narcissist line. If what I'm saying is offending you, that's just a you problem. That's just the way that you're
is that what that
choosing
means?
to interpret what I'm doing, but it's certainly nothing that I'm doing.
I mean, I am doing something wrong. Generally, it means that you're jealous of something.
Bitch, I ain't jealous of no 39-year-old with 4 kids.
That was excessive.
Clear that up. Okay.
Both of them.
Oh my
Both sides
God.
was excessive.
Is this every mean girl we hated in high school just reimagined right now?
Cute. But whatever it is, I promise you can obtain it for yourself. I'm living proof of that, because if you admit this one, you wouldn't think that.
Wow. So we've been through some major weight loss.
So she
good
has.
For you, girl. Like, honestly, like, I'm gonna applaud you where you deserve it. We clearly went on like a
That's
good
like,
weight loss journey.
Don't know how she did it, but regardless, that's probably a lot of hard work that went into that.
But fun fact, that does not inherently make you better than everyone that you talk to. It does not inherently make you an instant role model, like, or make any of this other egregious behavior okay. Wow.
You wouldn't think that she ever thought that she'd get what she wanted, because she didn't think that. If you look to me as like, oh, there's something about her, I need to get to know her, you're actually seeing the good parts of yourself. So
You're not helping me reach that conclusion, though. I'm well aware of the good parts of myself. You know, I'm also
Yeah.
aware of the, like, icky parts of myself.
That-
Like,
I don't know if that is a narcissistic thing or not. I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist or anything like that, but it's weird. It, you know, it feels weird for someone to be like, "Oh, if I'm doing something that bothers you, then you need to work on something." What? No, maybe it's legitimately something that you should be working on, or maybe we both need to work on something. It can mean all sorts of things.
frankly. But, like, I don't know, man. When all you do is...
I mean, I'm going to use myself as an example. If if I say something, because this has happened, if I say something that someone believes or not believes, but someone really dislikes, like say they have a phobia of something, and even hearing it because it's such a strong phobia is too much for them, then that is something that can be worked on by both parties. One, I can avoid talking about whatever it is. And two, if you're able to, because I know it's expensive, but if you can go to a therapist, you can work on trying to lessen and maybe even overcome that phobia. So that's something that both parties can work on. Whether it's actually viable or not is different. I mean, if we're working somewhere that's infested with spiders, then that's a problem for everyone. You know, if someone's arachnophobic, for example. So yeah, that's something that theoretically both parties can work on, but may not be viable.
Tell cringe stories about your husband and about ways that you've terrorized other people online and how you're so amazing because you walked to work like millions of Americans do every single day, then you can't like blame me for
I
not
do
being,
respect the
like,
parents who have to do it
trudging
with
through all
like
that
kids
to be
though.
like,
Like
I
that's
can only see
gotta
the
be,
good. Like,
especially if they're little, because those little kids are gonna be tired, and it's just gonna be so difficult. So
really helping me get there. But also, what's up with this new sudden persona of like, don't you want what I have? Don't you want all of this? Lady, what you have are 4 kids from a bunch of different dudes.
we
and
don't
a
know
husband you
that.
don't even want. What do you mean you want
We
what
don't
I
know
have?
that.
What do you have? You hate everything that you have. Everything you have makes you miserable. Why would I want that?
Matt Walsh calling me childish. Who is he?
Unless
Why
she
is he
said
doing
it
this?
and I missed it.
So we're now on our
We don't know
second
that.
video of her pretending that she doesn't care about Matt Walsh calling her childish. I think she cares a little.
People listen to him. You know, it's funny. He's condemning me for the same shit he did. If anyone sounds like a child here, it's the person saying, like, you're so childish. You're such a crybaby. That doesn't sound like a child. I listened to him talk for the 5 seconds he talked about
2
me,
things can
and
be
I
true.
just had no desire to listen to him any further after that. Matt Walsh.
No, you clearly did, though, actually. You clearly are invested in this man's opinion. Oh, man. Oh,
2 things
she's
can be
finally
true.
getting called out. Oh, the tables have turned. This is only 3 comments, but literally all of them are against her. Probably a good time to reflect on your narcissistic behavior. Nothing he said about you is wrong. 100 women versus accountability. Even
That's
a broken
messed up.
clock is right twice a day. Dude, you know, like, it's bad when even the people who don't like Matt Walsh are like, girl.
How did she? We don't know that they don't like Matt Walsh.
He was right, though. I don't even like Matt Walsh, and even I'm like, if he called you childish and immature, I gotta side with Matt Walsh on this one, and I don't like to say that.
I have no opinion.
what does she have to say
on
about
him,
child support?
but
oh god, yep, this is
yeah.
confirmed that she has multiple baby daddies now.
Okay.
My baby daddy filed a motion to get
Oh,
custody
no,
of their
it's
two
not.
children because he doesn't want to pay child support anymore.
This is a classic argument used. They always love to say that the only reason that men ask for 50-50 is so that they don't have to pay child support, without realizing two things. One, so does that mean that women only fight 50-50 custody so that they can receive child support? And
It
two,
could mean that.
which is the truth here? Because these women
But
love to say, oh my god, the cost of raising a child isn't even
it could
covered
also
by
just,
child
like,
support. Like, child support
depend
is so
on the
much less than
situation.
the actual cost of raising a child when you have them. But then they want to say that men are trying to get out of paying by having the child more. If it costs more,
I
when you're
could
with the
I could not imagine not fighting for my kids, but I would also, like, on either side, I could not imagine not fighting for the kids. And I could not imagine parents not just wanting to go 50-50, with exceptions. There are exceptions to that. But I cannot imagine parents not wanting to go 50-50, because it would be at least somewhat better for the children.
child, how is he trying to get out of paying anything? It sounds like he's going to be paying more.
Even though he still owes her $25,000 and their oldest child is almost 18 years old. Good timing, right? She shows up to court 3 times. He doesn't show up. They still proceed with her interview, and they're still proceeding with the interviews of the children. When I asked her why, she said they have to go through the process. But if he didn't show up 3 times, I would question, if he can't bother to be here and he's the one who filed the motion, why are we continuing to waste the court's time? I just don't get why she even has to do that in the first place.
That would be a
Why
waste
are
of
they
time if
even
that's how it
entertaining him?
works.
Why?
I actually am going to agree with her on here. If you don't show up to court, you can't expect a judgment to be made in your favor. And this is what we mean by the broken clock is right twice a day, you know? I'm sure if I watch enough, there's going to be a couple of things I actually agree with her on. That does sound like a weird situation. If the kids are almost 18 anyway, then even if he gets full custody of them, it's not going to erase the 25
No, it
grand
won't.
in arrears that he owes. He's going to owe that for the rest of his life. But also, yeah, if you don't show up to court, you can't expect any kind of judgment to be in your favor. So I actually do agree with that. But for the most part, yeah, this is a very narcissistic partner shamer.
I don't know
would
if they're
love to find
narcissistic.
the husband, quite frankly.
They do have some weird
Honestly, and like,
tendencies.
here's the thing too, is how much do you want to bet that if I did go on a mission and I found the husband and I contacted him and I sent him these videos and I showed him like what's being said about him online, she would throw an absolute
That would
hissy
be
fit, a
so.
temper tantrum scene.
The worst part is that would be about the same amount of energy that she put into finding a picture so she could make that lady think that she cheated on, or that her boyfriend had cheated on her. So
only by the longest living
yeah,
of gods and archangels. Like,
not saying anybody should do that.
would
I don't
literally, like, devastate the
think
plate
that's a good
tectonics
idea.
of Earth with how hard of a temper tantrum
But,
she would throw.
you know.
Despite literally just admitting that she cyber stalked a complete stranger who left a mean message for at least half an hour, but likely much longer, to create an entire false infidelity story to damage her life.
That's
How
what I
much
was
do you
just
wanna bet?
saying.
A lot, probably. As far as whether or not he would
Is-
leave her, I don't know, dude.
That's
I
what I
don't
was just
know at
talking
this
about
point,
anyway. It was like,
because
it
if
would
they
be
do
about
have
as
kids
much
together,
energy
there's
as
a
that.
good shot that he is like in staying for the kids mode. You know what I mean? And there's a
I
good
don't
shot
know.
that he's not completely.
We've seen a
oblivious
snippet
to
of their
the
lives.
person that she is.
She had a really cute jumping spider plushie. But no, we've seen like a snippet of their lives that we don't agree with, but we don't really know what the rest of it is like. Maybe that's the only time she's done that. Oh, it's so cute. Sorry. All the spiders. There's so many plushies. I love jumping spider plushies and jumping spiders and okay. Anyway. No, we don't. There were some assumptions in here that were made that nothing that was said in the videos really bear out, in my opinion. Maybe she has multiple baby daddies. Maybe they were broke college students and they were in separate states. Maybe any number of things. Any number of things could have happened. She could have multiple baby daddies. But we don't know that. She could just have two. That's possible. Which, I mean, it would still be multiple, but it's not like a ton. You know. She's making assumptions about her being a narcissist, and maybe she is. I don't know. She does think some weird things. We all think some weird things, though, to other people. She's just definitely putting those out there for everyone. So yeah, I don't agree with some of the assumptions she was making, but I do think it's just bad to go and put like a story like that out there about your husband to imply that he's being abusive. Maybe he is, but that should not be something that you imply to the internet as a whole, except as an absolute last resort. By all means document, but like, don't put it out there unless you have to. Maybe have like a fail-safe sort of thing going on. I don't know. But there's just so many people that are willing to put so much out there that just the internet doesn't need to know. That's really my opinion on all of this. Is she gave a lot of information, or actually not even a lot of information. She gave a little bit of information about one situation that in the grand scheme of things was probably insignificant. And she could have been trying to share it as a way to show how to resolve situations like that and conveyed it poorly, or to try and show that people are trying to learn to communicate with each other. I don't know. I don't know what her purpose was with it. But it was a snippet that really only shows us this tiny sliver of their lives where he doesn't look great, but then she really doesn't look good for putting it out there the way she did. Anyway, that's going to be it for today.
I see beyond the sea. Oh, Captain.